Hello Blazers, welcome to episode 55 of UAB Green and Told. Original air date Monday, September 27th, 2021. Through this podcast, we're able to share stories from members of the UAB community. You can listen into all of our episodes on Spotify and the Apple Podcast app. And while you're there, I'd love for you to leave a written review so it can reach more alumni. I'm Greg Berry, a UAB alum and Assistant Director in the Office of Alumni Affairs. UAB is getting set to open a new home for Blazer football, so today we catch up with Athletic Director Mark Ingram. As Mark will share, a lot of thought went into building a new stadium, including things that you may not normally think about.
What about that locker room from that stadium and the recruiting lounge from this other stadium? And maybe we can't do it exactly the same, but just the idea of trying to have a certain type of space.
While others have constructed colossal coliseums large enough to hold considerable cities, that wasn't the case for Birmingham's Protective Stadium. And as Mark will explain, that was done by design.
You know, in the modern era, Greg, you've got so many options to stay at home and watch games on television that building an 80,000 seat stadium for us, would have been unwise.
When the Blazers debut Protective Field, it'll be the latest part of a ready-to-be-made movie script that's been years in the making.
It's a fairy tale type story to have gone from a team that had been invited to one bowl game in 25 years.
October 2nd, 2021 is a big day for UAB and Blazer football fans everywhere. It's the day the football team will move into a new home, Protective Stadium. The near $200 million state-of-the-art stadium will bring alumni and fans into Birmingham's Uptown District. While the debut of Protective Stadium is imminent, the entire process is several years in the making.
It really goes back to May, June of 2015 when we reinstated football. And Dr. Watts said to me, we will not reinstate our football program if we do not have a better practice facility. So we were committed to building a practice facility and talked to community members about forming, a volunteer fundraising committee to assist with that as we designed it and then of course raised the funds for it and built it. And in doing that allowed us to recruit the kind of talent that you've seen on the field win the last 3 Western Division titles and 2 out of the last 3 championships. And so as that momentum occurred with the practice facility, and I remember being at the ribbon cutting with a number of our city council and our mayor, and the conversation shifted to what's next for football, and that sort of reinstatement of football, but also the immediate success that we had in football is what ignited this conversation around the stadium that has been going on, as I'm told, for somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 40 years about a new football stadium. And so I think everybody around the project agrees that if it weren't for UAB football, the conversation would have been, kind of dead in the water. But we were able to sort of come in and get everybody excited about that discussion again. And then, of course, it's taken a lot of different people supporting it to make it happen. But again, there would have been no great need for it if we weren't here.
And this has been a long process because you mentioned 2015 and then 2016, the announcement was made by the BJCC that, we're going to start moving forward with this project and see what we can do in terms of the stadium. People don't realize how long projects like this actually take, do they?
Yeah, we had to amend the Constitution of the state of Alabama. That's another thing. I remember being it was the fall of 15 and 16 when we were trying to get an amendment called Amendment 14 is what it was that we needed to vote on statewide that would allow us to spend our tax dollars locally and make a decision for how those dollars were spent locally rather than the statewide legislators in Montgomery dictating that. Why would you, and it makes sense, right? Like, why would a representative from Birmingham be permitted to weigh in on how the tax dollars in Mobile were spent in Mobile? that makes all the sense in the world. And it also helps us fund our schools and our first responders. It's not just a stadium issue. But getting that amendment passed allowed us to use some rental car tax dollars that were already allocated for this, but allowed us to the mechanism to occur that we could use those dollars. So, I mean, it's not just how big is it, how many suites will it have, and where is it going to be. It gets really complicated in terms of where's the funding going to come from, and you have to be very creative with that, and we have been. And again, you get the city and the county and local business leaders and the BJCC and these tax dollars and so on all together to come up with the funding for this project. And it's a great thing, to see what can be done when everybody works together.
How important was it to have that seat at the table during this entire process as an administrator looking forward to becoming that main tenant?
I've been involved in a lot of facilities projects, which includes building arenas and renovating a football stadium. I've never built a football stadium from the ground, but done a lot of renovation work at stadiums and therefore toured a lot of them to try to get ideas. I felt appreciated being there, and I think pretty quickly was able to show, hey, there's some knowledge here and some value in having us at the table in terms of the design and amenities and things that are important to fans, and how the event is going to go and how you design the thing with the fans in mind and how they use it in the modern era. It's very different than how fans went to games 50 years ago. So yeah, it was good to be able to have my input and share our thoughts. And that wasn't our money, right? So it's always easy to spend somebody else's money, but that was good to be able to do that.
What were the important aspects of the stadium that UAB wanted to bring into it? Because obviously we had been at Legion Field for years upon years. So now we're moving into something else and we can tweak things a little bit.
Well, one of the things that our fans are going to enjoy is you can walk all the way around the stadium and see the field from the concourse. So you can walk around the main concourse level and be in line for a hot dog, let's say, and still be able to turn around and see the field. But there's more concession stands and more restrooms than ever before, which means hopefully that means no lines. And you ought to be able to avoid that, and that should be nice. And then, just anything that's new is therefore cleaner, and you have the ability to keep it cleaner with just modern design. And there's a drink rail at the top of the seating bowl all the way around the seating bowl. So, you get that hot dog and that drink and you can sit it on this little countertop. You got the drink rail that allows you to, put the mustard on your hot dog without having to go and eat on your lap, down at your seat. So that's just a very little thing, but I also think that the location there at Uptown will let people go and maybe have lunch before a game or catch dinner after a game, that kind of thing. I think it's going to be really good for fan engagement around the stadium.
Talk a little bit about the setting, because Uptown is an up and coming area. Top Golf, you've got the restaurants, obviously you got BJCC kind of enjoying a renaissance, but how important was it for that location for the football stadium?
You've seen at a lot of communities how building a stadium in a downtown setting can really help to revitalize that area, and I would assume this will be the same. And I've seen some preliminary plans of some development just north of the stadium headed down Caraway Boulevard, which is really exciting for that area and for the neighborhood around it. But we designed the stadium to do our best to keep it from being some colossal thing that casts a shadow on the neighborhood. That's not what we wanted, and it will hopefully also keep the sound volume down for the residents of that area. So trying to be respectful without having this big, tall, towering structure. And we think we've done that. It should help with the sound too. But I think the downtown setting is terrific. There's a lot of parking down there. It's different. It'll be different tailgating on the rooftop of a garage instead of just sort of a large open parking lot. You take a place like Wrigley Field that has no parking, so it certainly can be done.
So with the more intimate environment that Protective is going to offer its fans, were there stadiums, universities you were looking at kind of as possible models of what you wanted to include?
Yeah, some of the ones that we looked at were TCU, Baylor, Colorado State, they all had features about their stadiums that we really liked. We were able to look at, we visited Tennessee and visited Auburn and Alabama and looked at different things to just get ideas. You're trying to just get, if I could take that seating area from this stadium, and what about that locker room from that stadium, and the recruiting lounge from this other stadium, and maybe we can't do it exactly the same, but just the idea of trying to have a certain type of space and how this space interacts with the other space. Then we have a banquet room that's like a recruiting lounge on game day. And how does that interact with our locker room in proximity, and how is it in relationship to where the recruits themselves will sit? Those little things you can do when you build it from the ground up. You can do it intentionally when you think of that in advance. And so that's some things, for example, we'll have that most schools of any level don't have. And we'll have it here at UAB, and it'll be tremendous. It'll be a tremendous asset.
A lot of thought went into Protective Stadium, and including a study on the sun setting, because with a new location, you're going to have new angles from the sun. There's not going to be a bad seat in the house when it is all said and done. Talk a little bit about just the thought that went into all of the details.
Yeah, so that was one actually that was a good catch by us, pointing out that the original design was to have the field run east-west instead of north-south, and a football field needs to run north-south. And that's because you don't want a quarterback throwing east or west into the sun, or a receiver trying to catch the ball looking into the sun, and then it becomes very dangerous. A defender can hit them. They're turned around, crossing the middle of the field and looking back at a quarterback and staring into the sun, and then a safety hits them coming across the middle, and they never see them because just that angle is so difficult, and that sun can be really piercing into your eyes. So you run the football field north-south so that you avoid that. So that was an important piece for us, and yeah, we were able to get in there and make that change so that and that it impacted how the relationship of the stadium on the site, but it's worked out really well.
Approximately 45,000 seats. Is that kind of the sweet spot for a stadium like this?
I think the total capacity is 45. That's a little bit larger than we probably would have liked, but while we are the main tenant, bowl game, Birmingham Bowl will play there, and other events. So it was about trying to find a stadium size that made sense for everybody. But I think when you look at the stadiums that I mentioned, they're all in that, well, not all, but TCU, Baylor, and Colorado State are in that sort of 40 to 45,000 range. And in the modern era, Greg, you've got so many options to stay at home and watch games on television that building an 80,000 seat stadium for us would have been unwise. Now, for others, maybe not, but for us, with the number of games that are on TV and the way people view games through their phones and other mediums, we felt like that was a better number for us.
With a new home, is there going to be a new look at different promotions, new features that fans can expect as they walk through the turnstiles?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you'll see some familiar things from the past too. We're doing oversized tailgate spaces in an area. We're doing, we have a partnership with a tent company, Game Day Done Right, who will, preset, a tent for you and put tables and chairs out for you, which is something we had done in the past. So we're going to have some of the same old things. Our team walk is going to be really exciting. From where they start, they'll start at Eugene's Hot Chicken, and they'll walk by the parking garage and through uptown and into the plaza. And I think that'll really feel like a great parade style entrance for those who park in that garage next to that's above Eugene's, behind the Westin Hotel. So our vision is we want our fans, kind of leaning over the balcony and over the side of the garage and cheering as the players come in. It'll be a real hero's welcome, I think, for our team to experience when they walk into the stadium. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
With you so close to everything that's been going on, what are some interesting nuggets about the stadium that people may not know, but you find kind of fun.
In the club seating area, there are these huge sliding glass doors that will open the room up to make a big indoor-outdoor kind of space that is unique to our stadium. I've not seen that in college football before. I'm not saying nobody has it. I just haven't ever seen it. Not quite like this. We're going to have cabanas in the end zone that are like outdoor suites, and we haven't really had that before. I think that'll be fun. It's just like a private area, but it's a cabana, but we'll have service, catering and that kind of thing. That'll be a lot of fun. We're going to really encourage young kids to sit in the north end zone where we can, when our players score a touchdown, we want, think of the 10-year-old boys and girls down there high-fiving our players at the end. We've designed a really special student seating area that has a big plaza for them to just kind of socialize in the south end zone below the replay board. I think our students are going to love that. So I'm excited about those things that are different, but all part of the thinking when we were designing the stadium and designing the seating area and where everybody would be. And we started with them. The first group we asked, where do you want to sit, was the band. And then the next group we asked was the student government. Where do you want to sit? This is where the band is going to be. Where do you want to be? And they had their pick of a lot of spots, but we thought they would want this area that they chose, and they did. And those things are all going to be fun for people that attend, I think.
How far has UAB football come since 2014, bringing the team back, getting the new practice facility, and now a new stadium?
Arguably the biggest turnaround in college football history. I mean, it's a fairy tale type story to have gone from a team that had been invited to one bowl game in 25 years and then reinstate the program and do as well as we have over these last few seasons. I mean, to play 4 seasons and have 4 straight bowl games and 3 division titles and 2 championships is highly uncommon. And build that practice facility and now build a $200 million or nearly $200 million football stadium. I mean, it's just you could not have scripted it better for a movie, and you could never have predicted it. You never could have planned it like this. It's just the culmination of people's enthusiasm for UAB as the largest employer in our state and recognizing how important UAB is to the city of Birmingham, and people that are passionate about Birmingham, wanting to help Birmingham thrive, and understanding that by helping UAB athletics, it helps drive enrollment to UAB, and that's good for our community, the one that we live in, regardless of where you may have gone to school yourself. If you live here and you understand the economics of that and how supporting UAB is good for you, that's how we've gotten here. It's people really believing in that.
Is there going to be any point where you can just sit back and go, all right, this is done?
Retirement? I'm a long way from retirement, but that's probably the earliest I could ever consider being able to relax. And you can't be complacent. You've got to continue to build your program because someone else is. Someone else is working on it. Somebody else is trying to get better all the time. So you've got to be engaged, and you've got to be trying to make progress in the entire program, not just football, and all of your sports teams, because all your competitors are doing it. So if you're not doing it, you're falling behind.
You touch on the rest of the athletics department. It was a successful 2020, 2021 for the entire department because men's golf had a fantastic year. Basketball was solid. Softball was strong. Talk a little bit about the success that the rest of the teams have had as well going into the fall.
It was the most successful year comprehensively in our school history. We won more games and finished ranked higher than any year in school history. You said it. So men's basketball finished 3rd. Our men's golf team went to the NCAA championship finals in Scottsdale, Arizona. Our volleyball team made the conference tournament for the first time in 8 years. Our beach volleyball team cracked the top 25 for the first time in school history. Our women's tennis team won more matches than they've won since 2003. Our softball team played in the conference championship game. We did not win that game, but we were in the championship game. These are just some, off the top of my head we had 3 young ladies from our track team go to the NCAA regional qualifier. Women's soccer finished 4th. So we had a really, really strong year, and we won 3 tournaments in women's golf. Just really pleased with the success of our department, the success of our programs. We're not where we want to be yet. We broke ground on a basketball practice facility that we're excited about, that I think will give our men's and women's basketball teams an opportunity to really compete all the time, starting with the talent that we've got. It provides a place where they can train all the time, but it'll help us in recruiting future great players as well. And that's something that we needed badly. I mean, nearly everybody in the country has that, and we did not. And so we had really fallen behind from a basketball facility standpoint with not having that. So, yeah, it's exciting to see things really starting to turn. My first year here, we won the men's basketball regular season championship, but I'm not sure that another team had a winning record. I'm sure that's not true, but it was close, to have flipped that to the opposite, to where most everybody had a winning record, and it was actually just a few who didn't. That's really exciting.
Obviously, you measure success with wins. You measure success with championship banners. But what else does the athletic department use to deem a successful year?
Well, we tell our student athletes we have 3 core values: win championships, graduate with honors, and make a difference. And so we're winning a lot of games, but I tell them if they visit here as a recruit, I want to explain what all these 3 things mean. So winning championships does not mean winning games. So I'll say, I need you to understand that winning is not the goal. Winning is not the goal. Winning is the expectation. We're recruiting you because you're good. We expect you to win. We are asking you to stretch and win a championship. That is the goal. And it's the same thing in the classroom. Academically, we have a tremendous support system around our students to help them be successful. So even though a lot of people go to college, not just student athletes, a lot of people go to college unsure of their ability to graduate, nervous about it, nervous about being away from home, and can I do this? But with the support system that we have around them, graduation is going to happen. If they will just provide the effort we ask, they will graduate. So graduation is also not the goal. But like a championship, let's stretch and let's graduate with honors, because you can do that, and we're going to help you. And then make a difference is in our community. And we pride ourselves in providing a lot of community service hours. Last year, we ranked 10th nationally in the number of community service hours that we provided Birmingham. We spent a lot of time at Children's Hospital and at the Glen Iris School and at Epic School, and we built habitat houses and a lot of good things for the Birmingham area, but specifically downtown Birmingham. And our student athletes have embraced that. Our staff embraces that, and it's part of who we are. So we're proud of all those things. We finished with a 3.38 GPA this past semester. You take 400 student athletes and you average their grade point average, and it's a 3.38. That's pretty darn good. So we're really proud of the hard work and the effort that they put in.
So what drives Mark Ingram?
Well, there's still a lot of good work to be done here to be the quality of program that we're capable of. So I said in my first days here, maybe at my first press conference when I took the job, easy is boring. I'm not interested in easy. I'm not interested in a place where you just kind of put your feet up on the desk and smoke cigars and just watch cash roll in and stack trophies around the shelves. I mean, anything you've got to earn, that you've got to work for, is so much more valuable, and you appreciate so much more than something that you just inherit that's a Ferrari. And we're building it now. We're getting there, and that's been a lot of fun, and that's what drives me is what I know we can be. I say at our groundbreaking events that we're breaking ground on this facility, or we're cutting the ribbon on this facility. Why are we doing it? Well, because we're trying to emulate the world-class education that our student athletes get in the classroom. We want to provide that same experience to them as a student athlete on the field or the court or whatever, and that's why we're doing this. And we're going to continue to do that. And I think our results are speaking for themselves in terms of our plan and how that's worked.
You've been here now for 7 years. Where's the program going to be in 10 years? And this is the program being the entire athletic department.
We want to be in the top third of Conference USA in every single sport, because if we're in the top third, we have a legitimate chance at winning a championship. And we want to win championships, right? We want to do that in everything we can. So, but being realistic to our coaches, if we provide them the facilities and resources to be competitive, we think we can do that. So, I'm in my 7th year now. I think by year 10, we will be in a position to maybe say that in all sports. And that's what's exciting to me. Today, we can say that in a lot of our sports, but not all of them. Baseball, for example, is something I know we can be great at, like truly great at, but we got to provide the resources, right? We got to provide the stadium and locker room facilities, that kind of thing, to really be competitive at the level we're capable. But I know we can do that here, and we want to do that for everybody.
That's Mark Ingram. In 2015, Mark was introduced as UAB's Director of Athletics. During his time at UAB, the athletics department has completed more than 20 projects, including BBVA Field, an 8-lane track, beach volleyball complex, and football practice facility. And as Director of Athletics, Mark definitely has an idea of what it means to be a Blazer.
If you come here as a student athlete, you've got to be committed to academic success and athletic success. And I feel like we're a place that's proving that you can do both. You can be great academically and athletically. And our students perform beautifully in the classroom, and we're starting to compete for more and more championships. And that's what a really well-rounded person is able to do. And UAB attracts that kind of student, which is exciting to me. And that's what I enjoy being around.
Be sure to listen into previous episodes of UAB Green and Told. You can find all of them online at alumni.uab.edu/greenandtold. Have a story to share? Email greenandtold@uab.edu. Finally, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search UAB Alumni. Thanks for listening, and until next time, go Blazers.